Okay, excuse me. We are live, and what is good, everybody? It is the Godfather of VR, the ageless wonder, the man Lincoln Clay, coming back at you with a live stream of some comparisons that I've done earlier today. How's everybody doing? It is what is today? Wednesday, July 15th. It's 10:23 p.m. Eastern time. So thought I'd take a quick minute to do a little stream to talk about my findings. So, as some of you know, I have three headsets. I have the Oculus Rift S, which is on PC. I have the PlayStation VR, which is on the PlayStation Pro, and I have the Oculus Quest, which all of you know is the standalone VR headset. And all of them have their I think all of them have their place in the VR landscape. But there is a couple of games that I triple dipped on. Um, and that would be Creed Rise to Glory. I have that on all three headsets. And I have Star Trek Bridge Crew on all three headsets. These are, as far as VR games goes, these are definitely uh, I would say these are two of my favorite games. I won't put them as number one or any particular ranking. Just say that they're two of my favorite VR games. And I'll never forget the hype I felt when both of these games came out. When I first learned about Star Trek Bridge Crew, first thing hit my head was like, oh my God, I'm going to get a chance to actually sit inside a starship and feel what it's like to be on a starship, to be able to look at the viewer screen, to see a starship in its actual size, because I had already gotten a taste of the Star Wars X-wing mission that was part of the Star Wars Battlefront. So I was able to see a star destroyer in its actual size. I was able to see an X-wing fighter in its actual size, which I thought was kind of big for fighters. For a fighter, X-wing fighter. Um, so I was already hyped from what I had saw from the Star Wars X-wing mission. So I was really hyped about Star Trek Bridge Crew. And then as far as Creed goes, naturally, you know, boxing for a long time has been my favorite sport, for obvious reasons. With me growing up as Floyd Mayweather's cousin, so boxing's in my blood. It's as far as my family goes, it was everywhere I turn. I'm got a trillion stories. Going to my grandmother's house, opening up a closet and seeing like 6, 7 pairs of boxing gloves in the closet, that belonged to my uncle Floyd Mayweather Sr. Um, so for years and years and years, I've always searched for the perfect boxing game, and until I ran across Creed, I felt like the Fight Night games from EA was the best boxing games that we had. Which, as much as I don't like EA, I think the Fight Night games, I think they made some pretty solid games. I just didn't like when they ran updates through to change the dynamics of those games, because I thought the games had perfect balance, and there was a few times where there was complaints about the game, and then I felt like they ran some updates through to turn the game into a Rocky style type game, where your fighters were getting tired after about 2 rounds, and in a situation like that, if you had a fighter that didn't have any power or didn't have a strong chin, you were inevitably going to get knocked out. So they turned it into a Rocky game, and put the advantage into the slow, heavy hitting fighters. Whereas when the game had perfect balance, if you knew how to box and you knew how to use the ring, you could box your way to a decision. But until Creed came along, those were the best you could get for boxing games, because um, but yeah, when Creed came along, by then I had already played Knockout League, which is definitely arcadey because you're not fighting real characters. Um, you're fighting a pirate. If amongst a bunch of other zany characters, but it was good for cardio. And the big thing that bothered me about Knockout League is that it did not have player versus player. So when Creed came along, I was glad to see that another boxing game had came along, but I was a little bit apprehensive about it because I'm thinking to myself, I'm not going to get excited about this game because I simply don't know whether this game is going to have player versus player or not. But once I learned that the game had player versus player, I was absolutely excited. I'll never forget thinking to myself, okay, now I get to beat people's ass and talk shit. Um, so that was the hype that I felt when both of those games came out and came to VR. So I was like, I felt like it wouldn't get any more immersive than that, which to this day still holds. Um, you want to box, Creed's the way to go, and if you want to be on board a starship, it's very, very immersive. So anyway, so that's the history of that. Short story long. Yes, I did triple dip on both of these games. I bought them on all three headsets, um, and I made kind of lighthearted comparisons in the beginning, but I didn't make it to work today. Um, I had a little bit of a issue, so by the time it was time to get things moving and stuff like that, I just wasn't going to be able to make it. So I spent the day to get some things done, tie up some loose ends, and I also took that opportunity to make these comparisons. So I don't know. I judged when I made these comparisons. I kind of judged them on like three categories: resolution, resolution, and in that I mean like how sharp was the picture. Um, was there's jaggies in the was there's jaggy in the display? Was the anti-aliasing in terms of characters and the environment having the shiny flickering edges, that kind of stuff. Graphics was another category. Simply put, how good did the game look? The textures, the colors, the shadows, because that adds to the 3D look that you see. And lastly, it was tracking. How well did the game perform? So, so I came up with my thoughts and impressions. Now, mind you, uh, I wish this is one time where I wish I had the equipment and I had the patience to provide footage of my findings. But this is it, cheap ghetto style, me sitting here giving you my thoughts, just remembering what I saw off the top of my head and telling you what I think. So getting into these comparisons, getting into what I thought. So which one should I start with in terms of because I'm going to start with resolution. I'm just trying to decide, should I start with what I think about Creed or what I think about Star Trek Bridge Crew. So let's let's go with Creed. So starting with the resolution, naturally, with the resolution, naturally the PC looked best. There's no question about that. The PC on the Rift S just looked razor sharp, and so in terms of the resolutions, there's no doubt about it. PC is the best way to play it. Now the PlayStation VR. Well, I'd probably say actually one of the things was shocking about it was in terms of resolution, in terms of sharpness of the picture, and anti-aliasing and all that kind of stuff. I felt the Quest actually came in second. Now, when I did this comparison, I was inside the player versus player gym, just walking around, looking at the punching bags, the dummies, the punching dummies, the ring, um, all the posters on the wall, the gym equipment, and all that kind of stuff. So, um, so PC look was the sharpest, and in the case of coming in second, the Quest actually came in second, surprisingly. Now the Quest was not razor sharp like the Quest was not razor sharp like PC, but it wasn't blurry either. Now everything in there had soft edges, and that's one of the things, the glaring things that probably stands out about the Quest versus the PC, is that a lot of the edges are sharp. You don't have that razor sharp, crisp look that PC has. But it wasn't blurry. Inside the gym, looking around inside the gym, it wasn't blurry, but it wasn't razor sharp like the PC. There was like the anti-aliasing. There was no shiny, glittering edges as I looked around the gym. So the biggest thing that probably stood out with the Quest version of walking around inside the player versus player gym is that it looked dim. It looked a little bit darker in there, as if somebody turned the lights down. But it actually, it actually looked pretty good for the Quest. C Slim, what is up, my guy? We can throw down again pretty soon, man. If you want to, we can get something in this weekend or the next couple of days. Ooh, excuse me. So now, in the case of the PlayStation VR, in terms of the resolution, that came in last. Um, yes, there was blur, and then the thing about the blur was the blur seemed to be active. At times it seemed wavy. Like it was a thin layer of water going across the screen. And there was definitely the anti-aliasing. There was definitely the shiny glittery edges around objects. You ready whenever? Okay, we can do it again. We can do it again in a day or so. I mean, after I get done with this podcast, I'm just gonna get a little bit of VR therapy in and play something before I go to bed. I don't know. I don't know. Kind of feeling like playing some more some more sim racing. Some Project Cars 2 or something. So yeah, out of the resolution, Creed on the PlayStation was the worst because there was blur. The blur was not that bad, but it was the way it was wavy. It was like you could kind of see that there was blur there, and then there was the shiny edges. The shiny flickering edges. So and so in that order, PC looked best. Quest was second, and PSVR was third. Graphics. Again, this goes to PC. Um, the colors, the textures, the shadows, all that stuff was there. Uh, Now, in the case of the PlayStation VR, came in second on that one. The same thing was there: the color, the textures, and the shadows. All that stuff was there on PlayStation VR. It's just that the picture wasn't as sharp as on PC. So if you were to put the two side by side, you could look around and see both of them. Both of them would look the same. It's just that you would look at the PC and say that picture's sharper. But, the colors was the same. The textures were the same. The shadows were the same. So it wasn't a situation where things were missing on the PlayStation side of it. It's just the picture wasn't as sharp due to the blur. So, and that's probably where the Quest, came up short because, um, the it seemed like they did what they had to do to try to make it work on the Quest, because like the reflective surfaces wasn't there. Um, for instance, like the punch dummies inside the player versus player gym, you could kind of see the shadows and the reflective surfaces on the punch dummies, but it wasn't there on the Quest. You know, um, the graphics was there in terms of like all the details was there, but like the shadows and stuff like that, um, the punch dummies look more 3D because of the shadows and the textures and that kind of stuff on PSVR and PC. So you know, so I would definitely say that the Quest was missing the reflective surfaces. You know, water, for instance, if you were to see water on the PC, you'll see that reflective surface as the waves are going. You'll see that reflective surface. Depending on what you might be playing on the Quest, you may not see that. You might see the water, but you may not see that reflective surface, like the sun, reflecting off the surface, the top of the water. So when it comes to that, the Quest did come in last as far as textures, shadows, assets, that kind of thing. But I still thought, all in all, it looked pretty good. Now the tracking for Creed, this where it might be a little bit of a surprise. I thought the tracking was probably best on the PlayStation VR. Um, I felt like I was able to throw punches. This is on in an online fight. I was able to throw punches. I thought the hit detection was good because it showed throughout the fight. Because if I targeted a specific area on my opponent, that you would see the damage over time. If I was attacking a certain part of the body, you would see that part of the body get red after a while. Or if I was attacking a specific part of the face, you might see that eye start to close or get a little bit red around the area. So I thought the hit detection was pretty good with the PlayStation VR, and I thought the tracking was pretty good. Now the PC, on the other hand, the thing I seemed to notice about the tracking with that was that is that when you threw punches, your character got tired after only two punches, whereas on the PSVR version of it, I could probably throw about 4 or 5 punches before my character would get tired. So it was more like 1, 2 on the PC, and then my gloves would start glowing because the character's already tired. And then once your character gets tired, even though you bring your hands back like this, because your character is tired, your hands will come back slower. You would see a ghost image of the hands coming back because that's symbolizing you actually being tired. So I had a fight on earlier today on PCVR, and because of the fighter only getting tired after 2 punches, it was like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and the fight was that made the fight very strategic against my opponent, and the fight actually went 12 rounds. So, but I think now the Quest, on the other hand, the Quest. Now I remember Anthony of VR365 talking about the tracking on the Quest, and I kind of see where he says there are some blind spots on the Oculus Quest where you kind of lose tracking. So when you put your guard up like this, if you bring your hands too close to your face, you'll lose tracking on the Quest. Or if you put your hands behind your head, which I don't know what reason you would need to put your hand behind your head, but if you do put your hand behind your head, you will lose tracking. So the bottom line is, in order to maintain good tracking, you have to keep the controllers inside of the cameras. On the Quest, you got 4 cameras on all 4 corners, angled in a specific way. Where on the Oculus Rift S, you have 5 cameras, 2 pointing straight ahead, 2 pointing out like that, and 1 on top. So the tracking is actually the tracking is decent on the PC on the Rift S. I just don't know what was up with my character getting tired after only throwing 2 punches. So I would probably say that for the way that I like to play, Playing on the PSVR might be the best way to go. So, so when it comes to resolution, in terms of how clear the picture is, the anti-aliasing, the jaggy edges and shit like that, PC wins hands down. Graphics again, PC wins there with PS with Quest coming in second, but that's mainly because you don't have the shiny edges. Although you don't have the reflective surfaces, you don't have the shiny flickering edges and shit. So and you don't have the blur. You got soft edges, but you don't have the blur. And then as far as the tracking goes, I would probably give the tracking to the PlayStation VR, with PC coming second and Quest coming in third. That's only because putting your hands in front of you to defend yourself is part of boxing, and that changes the complexion of the fight. If you have to be careful about putting your hands in front of you, so you can put your hands in front of you, but you have to keep them out far enough that the camera can see the controllers. If you bring them in like this, you're gonna lose tracking. So the Quest brought up the rear on the tracking. So now we get ready to move on to Star Trek Bridge Crew. Now with Star Trek Bridge Crew, starting with the resolution, in terms of how sharp the picture was, the anti-aliasing, the jaggies, once again, PC won hands down. That picture was just razor sharp. And in the case of Star Trek Bridge Crew, what I did was when the game first starts and you start to orbit around the Enterprise Next Generation ship, I did that on all three headsets, and then I went into the briefing room privately on all three headsets. So orbiting the Enterprise, my God, it was like just razor sharp. And going into the briefing room was razor sharp in there too. Uh, what came in second was in terms of the resolution and sharpness, the PlayStation VR came in second. Um, it looks better than I remember. Now the same deal there. The picture looked good. Um, I would say there's not that much blur. The blur is almost minimal. It's almost no blur on the PlayStation version of Star Trek Bridge Crew. It's just that the PC is just noticeably sharper. You'll know the difference when you put on one headset and then put on the other. Um, and I would say that the Quest came in third. Even though it has a 16, even though it outputs at 1600 resolution, I thought the PlayStation VR version looked better than the Quest. It came in second. Now, as far as the graphics goes, in terms of the shadows, the textures, the reflective surfaces, that gives it more of a 3D look. Once again, PC came in first, and I would say the PlayStation came in second. That was within the ballpark. So, circling the Enterprise, there was these what looks like compartment hatches around on the top and the bottom of the ship. These compartments, these hatches. It looked like if you were standing on top of the ship, you could grab a handle and pull that latch open. Because of the shadows and the reflective surfaces and how real that stuff, the textures, all that stuff made it look. So same deal with the PlayStation version of it. The shadows, the textures, the reflective surfaces was all there on the PlayStation version of it. It's just that the PC was sharper, but it was enough that it was within the ballpark. Now going into the briefing room, same deal. There's a table right next to you with a couple of communicators on them, and the details was there. So the details was there on both of PlayStation VR and PC. Is just, again, the PC looked sharper. The chairs inside the briefing room had the reflective surface that gave the look of it had that plastic look. um but yeah, the you could see the light shining off the seat on PC VR and PC. So the shadows, textures, all that stuff is there on the PC and the PlayStation VR. Now the Quest, on the other hand, yeah, the Quest took a hit there. So when the game first starts and you're circling the starship, um, those same hatches that I was talking about that was on PlayStation VR and PC, those same hatches where I was talking about you could just walk up to them and pull a handle and open them, it didn't look like that on the Quest. Um, it kind of looks like it kind of looks like somebody uh, took a decal and just kind of pasted it on there, and it had a soft, smudgy look to it. And the lights, the lights that you see around the starship, they were blurred. So um, whereas on the PlayStation and the PC, those lights look sharp, so it looks like the ship is alive. The ship looks more alive on PC and PlayStation VR because of the shadows, the lights, the textures, and all that stuff. Whereas on the Oculus Quest, I'm not gonna lie, the ship, it almost don't it doesn't feel like a real ship because of the details, um, the compartment hatches, the windows, the shadowing and stuff like that. The ship doesn't look as real as it does on PlayStation VR or PC. But all in all, this is the Quest we're talking about, mobile. So they definitely had to make some sacrifices. They definitely sacrificed some shadows, some textures, and some reflective surfaces. So um, when I went inside the briefing room and looked at those communicators that were sitting on the table, the communicators didn't exactly look like real communicators. It looked like somebody took a pack of cigarettes and put a decal over the top of it to make it look like a communicator. So there wasn't the sharp defining lines on there. There wasn't the reflective surfaces. It didn't have the reflective surfaces, and it didn't have the shadows that make it to give it that 3D look. I mean, even though you could look at it and see it was a communicator, it didn't have a paper cutout look or anything like that to it, and it did look 3D. It just didn't look as sharp in as detailed as PCVR. And then when you looked at the seats, there's an empty seat over here, and I'm looking at that seat, and the sharpness of that seat was there, but it didn't have the reflective surface to give that impression that the lights from the ceiling is reflecting off the headrest of that seat. So that's obviously one of the compromises they had to make there. So in terms of graphics, yeah, then another thing, when you're circling the Enterprise and you see the other two ships from the distance, the other two ships, you can see a little bit of jaggies on the other two ships, and the like the shadows and the lighting and all that kind of shit. It took a little bit of a hit. So again, PC won that one hands down. PlayStation VR came in second, but it still looked pretty good. And the Quest brought up the rear. And finally, tracking. I thought the tracking on the PC and the Quest were equally as good. I thought the tracking on the Quest and the PC were pretty good because you're dealing with touch controllers, because these are both Oculus headsets that have the exact same kind of controllers. So you could actually take a Rift S controller. They're identical controllers. It's just a matter of what headset you decide to pair it up to. So in that aspect, the tracking, as far as I'm concerned, was the same on both PC and the Oculus Quest. Now the tracking, I've had tracking issues in the past on the PlayStation VR version when moving using the move controllers. The tracking can be suspect, and the one thing about playing Star Trek Bridge Crew on PlayStation VR, however you choose to play this game, you have to angle that camera in such a manner. So if you're sitting down, you have to aim the camera. You have to angle the camera downward a little bit. If you're standing up, you have to angle the camera accordingly, because if you're doing one and the camera is angled in the opposite manner, you're gonna have some pretty bad tracking issues. So what I did experience, I totally forgot that I angled the camera upward so I could get better tracking on Creed whenever I have fights, and totally forgot to lower the camera when I was sitting down on Star Trek Bridge Crew, and because of that, I was having tracking issues. I kept getting notifications that one of the move controllers wasn't registering and that kind of shit. So I ended up having to stand up to get the tracking to work, to get it to work like it should on PlayStation VR. So I'm going to throw a little bit of a caveat there. I'm not going to say that the tracking's bad on the PlayStation version of it. It's just you have to angle the camera according to whether you're choosing to sit or stand. So, but no less, the controls, I played this game a number of times, and the controls have gotten wonky on me a couple of times. So that's one of those things where you gotta, you know, fiddle around with the camera until you find that sweet spot. So once you find the sweet spot, you will get, I think you'll get decent tracking out of the PlayStation VR. So there you have it. Resolution and graphics clearly belong to the PC. Tracking, I would put PC and Quest as a tie, with PlayStation bringing up the rear. But don't let that discourage you from the game, because like I said, if you fiddle with the camera and you find that sweet spot, then I think you'll get good tracking out of the PlayStation VR as well. So there you have it. So if somebody were to come to me and they were to have all three headsets, Quest, Rift S, and PC, PlayStation VR, and they were to come to me and say, I'm thinking about getting Creed, which headset do you recommend that I get it on? I am probably likely to tell them to get it on the PlayStation VR, because despite some parts of the game having a slight amount of blur, and having the shiny, the shiny flickering edges due to the aliasing, I still think that the best experience would probably be on the PlayStation version, because if you got the camera in the right position, I think the tracking is pretty good on the PlayStation version of it, as long as you stay in front of the camera. If the camera's right here and you turn it all the way around and turn your back to it, then yeah, you're going to lose tracking. But as long as you stay in front of that camera, you're going to get pretty good tracking. If someone were to come to me and ask me that same question for Star Trek Bridge Crew, I have all three headsets. Which one do you recommend that I get it on? There is no question about it that I'm going to recommend that they get it on PC. The resolution is there. I mean, I think Star Trek Bridge Crew probably won across the board on all three of those categories. It had the best resolution, the sharpest picture, the best graphics, the best shadows, textures, that kind of shit. I probably say the one thing that PlayStation VR had PC beat as far as Star Trek Bridge Crew is looking into outer space, because the black looked deeper on the PlayStation VR version of it, and maybe even the Quest version. Looking into outer space on PC, because I'm looking at it through the Rift S. If anybody knows about the Rift S, the blacks aren't as deep because of that LCD display of the Rift S. But that's really the only drawback. But resolution, graphics, and performance, on Star Trek Bridge Crew, across the board, PC wins that one. So if someone were to ask me which one I would get Star Trek Bridge Crew on, I would tell them to get it on PC. But now, where things get a little bit dicey is if they don't have an Oculus Rift S headset and they have PlayStation VR and they have a Quest headset. If they were to ask me, if they say Star Trek Bridge Crew, I have the PlayStation VR and I have the Rift and I have the Quest. Which one would you recommend that I get it on? And that's where I have to tell them it depends on what you want. I would end up telling them that if you want better tracking, go with the Quest. If you want the better graphics and the better resolution, go with the PlayStation VR. So that's where things get a little bit dicey. But if you got all three of them, PC wins across the board. Cyber Dragon, what is up, my guy? How are you doing, man? You know, one of these days, man, we got to get together again on that No Man's Sky. I have not really dived into that game since that one time we hooked up and I did that stream, which I had a lot of fun that day. But at this point, man, the game is just way too big. You know, I'm not going to be able to put any serious time into that game the way I want to. But all I really do now with No Man's Sky is every time a new update comes out, I'll just pop it in long enough to take a look at it. And in the case of the PlayStation VR, the game's a little bit blurry compared to the PC version of No Man's Sky. So every time a patch comes out, I keep checking to see if they cleared that blur up to give us a little bit better of a picture, because it had been said for a while that a pro patch was supposed to be coming, for the PlayStation Pro, that was gonna, give you a sharper, a little bit of a sharper picture. So I don't know if they've done it yet. I haven't gone back and visited that game probably in a couple of weeks. But we definitely got to do No Man's Sky again. And you know what? Cyber Dragon, I would like to urge you to start taking a look at possibly getting the PlayStation VR the next time it goes on sale. And even if it goes on sale, like maybe find one on eBay. Because I think, if you get lucky, you could probably find an entire setup, the headset, the camera, and the move controllers. You could probably find one on eBay for about $150. And the reason why I'm trying to put that bug in your ear now is because based on some of the things that I've seen and based on some of the things that I heard, some of the blur that you experience on PlayStation VR, it's a game by game basis. Not every single game is going to be blurry on the PlayStation VR. But when the PS5 comes along and that current headset works on the PS5, I think that's one of the problems that's going to be eliminated, because that thing's going to have enough power that I don't think games are going to be blurry. I think you're definitely going to have a much sharper picture, because after like some of the things that I had heard, it was rumored that the PlayStation 2, when that headset comes out, was going to be 1440. And the current headset is 1080p, which isn't bad. It's just I think you just need more powerful hardware so you don't see the blur and all that kind of stuff. So once I reach a self-induced goal, yeah. So I think another reason why I'm pushing that is I think as we get closer to the launch of the PS5, I would like to think that if Sony doesn't do another price cut on the PlayStation VR, I would like to think that they're gonna have at least one more sale. I would like to, I would like to think that they might have a sale next month when Iron Man VR comes out. But a lot of people into VR is really looking forward to Iron Man VR. So I don't know if Sony's going to lower the price of the headset, because they might take the gamble that this is going to be a system seller and people will be willing to pay full price for the headset in order to play Iron Man VR. I would like them to put it on sale so we can get more people into this community. The more, the better. So, but yeah, I mean, if you wanna slash a few bucks, EA is eBay is a way to possibly go because that's still on my to-do list. I promised Titanfall Princess that when things fall into place, that I would help her get one because she's curious about VR, and buying one of those things brand new with the motion controllers is $350. Whereas if I could find one on eBay for that price, then it's something that I could probably make happen a lot sooner than later. Because I definitely want her to to experience VR. I just recently, Big Cloud or Ryan, I sent him my Oculus Rift S. When I sent that to him, it was more of a situation where I went off a checklist. I was thinking to myself, it wasn't a situation where I just woke up and said, I'm going to send this headset to Ryan. It was a situation where I was like, okay, out of all my friends, which one of them has a PC that's strong enough to run VR that does not have a VR headset but has expressed interest in experiencing VR? So, and Ryan was the best category. He was the best candidate for those categories. He has a PC that is capable of running VR. Because I believe he built his own PC. He doesn't have a headset, and he has expressed mild interest in VR in the past. Sick Humor already has an Oculus headset, and he already has his own PC. In the case of people like Thrash or Royal Flush, they don't have any interest in. They really don't have any interest in VR, but they do have PlayStation VR headsets. So if they were interested in VR like that, you would hear them talking about it more. So they don't really have an interest in it like that. So that's how that went down. So coming back to Titanfall Princess, like I said, as soon as everything falls in place, I'm going to help her get a headset because that's something that I do want her to experience. I think it was something. She's a true gamer, and she's not one of these ladies that does all podcasts and no gameplay. In her case, it's kind of the other way around. You see more gameplay out of her than podcasts. It seems like for every podcast that she does, you might see her do 4 or 5 gaming streams before you see her come back to her next podcast. So she is definitely a true gamer. So and I think she has like my Creed streams in the past, watching me fight and talk trash and shit like that. So I think Creed might be a game that she might like, So yeah. So as soon as everything falls into place with that, I'm gonna take care of that situation. And but I've been quiet about that because it's just something that you probably won't hear me talk about it again. It's just the next time it comes up again, it'll probably be on her, and once I make it happen and help her get a headset. So, but that is my home girl. Grab a. Oh shoot, I'm empty. I might have to get up. Fatal Charade. How's it going? By the way, man, do you still have that? I do believe when you had the Oculus Rift headset, you were borrowing your friend's headset. Do you still have it? I've been playing. I probably say over the past month, I have not gotten to play VR as much as I wanted to because of how much I've been working, and it's just left me exhausted. And Patient Fire, what is good? What is good? What is good? I haven't played as much as I wanted to because it left me, I've been exhausted from working so much. And that was one of the beautiful things about the Oculus Quest, which I happen to have right here. This is such an amazing device. I'm getting my own this year when I get my taxes back. Get the if you don't mind spending the money, get the Rift S. There you go. Get that Rift S. I mean, you could go on eBay and find a Oculus Rift CV1. You could probably find one for as cheap as 150, 200 bucks at the most. But you're dealing with those external sensors, which believe me, I used to swear by those external sensors. But the picture is not as clear as the Rift S. Now the resolution on the CV1 is 1200, but the resolution on the Rift S is 1440. That doesn't sound like much of a jump, but believe me, brother, when I tell you it is a world of difference. The Rift S is clear, crystal clear, and believe me, when you see the when you get that Rift S, all the games that you played in the past, believe me, you're gonna see the difference. The minute you put that headset on, the clarity, you're gonna see the difference right then and there. So man, I'm really looking forward to you getting that Rift S, man. You got to give us when you get that Rift S, you got to give us an unboxing video, and you got to stream us a game, and give us your thoughts and impressions, as you play the game. So look forward to it, man. And with tax time, you're saying you're gonna get one when you get your taxes back, then that's right around the corner. Yeah, there you go, man. So with tax time being right around the corner, I hope that means that hopefully you get a headset by March. Not only that, here's the other thing, Fatal. If you get one by March, you'll have one just in time for Half-Life Alyx. Ooh, man, I think that's going to be game of the year. March or late February? All right, man. Make sure you get that, man. Join us. Become a permanent member of the VR community. And there's never a day when I play VR, there's never, most of the time there's not a situation where I'm like, oh, I don't feel like playing the game. I don't feel like playing this particular game because I don't feel like dealing with toxic people. To put it simply I think the games that I've played, the only time that I might run into an occasional asshole is when I play Firewall. Because you playing against these wannabe soldiers that act like they really wish they were a soldier in the military. So they take the game a little too serious. And so, I mean, don't get me wrong, when I'm playing the game and there's a barrier behind me, of course I want to take cover and not get shot and stuff like that. But some of these dudes on Firewall, occasionally you'll get a dude to start crying when we losing. Man, we suck. You guys, Aren't there any VR workout games? Hell yeah, Fatal is a bunch of them. You're looking at one of them right now, and that's Creed Rise to Glory. If you want the most intense workout, I would recommend Creed Rise to Glory, because that is a game that will have you gasping for air. I mean, if you've been watching my streams, man, I'm always breathing heavy in those videos. So Creed gives you a very intense workout. Beat Saber. Now, when you do the mod where you can add your own custom tracks to Beat Saber, that's gonna be fun, because you're gonna be playing Beat Saber to your favorite songs, and when you do that, you're gonna play so many, you're gonna have fun and not realize how long you've been playing Beat Saber. There's been days where I played Beat Saber for almost 2 hours and didn't realize I was playing it that long, because of how much fun I was playing my own custom tracks, because I'm an old school dude. I like that old school 70s, 80s R&B, so when I was finding a bunch of those songs and putting them on Beat Saber, playing Kool in the Gang to Beat Saber, that kind of stuff, man, it's fun, man. So yeah, so I mean, Beat Saber's got some decent songs on there, but I'm saying like watch some of those videos so you can learn how to put your custom tracks in there, because ultimately once you download the necessary apps or whatever, you can download the songs right from within Beat Saber itself if it still works the way it used to. You go to a section where you can like type in a song and it'll list all the available ones, and then you just highlight one, click it, and it'll download it, and you can start playing it right then and there. So Leaf was good. So definitely, so you already got Beat Saber. Like Beat Saber is for burning cardio. Pistol Whip, that'll give you a good workout too. That game will leave you gasping for air too. But I probably say Pistol Whip is going to work your core, because you bending and twisting and shit like that, and squatting and trying to dodge bullets and stuff. So it almost feels like, it feels like a combination of Beat Saber, because you're trying to kill the enemies to the beat of the music. So Pistol Whip feels like a combination of Beat Saber and The Matrix, where Neo was like bending and twisting in slow motion trying to dodge those bullets. So Pistol Whip is another one that I recommend. And let me see, if you buy Pistol Whip, buy it at the Oculus store. The reason why I say that is because in the case, if something ever happens where you end up getting an Oculus Quest somewhere down the line, that game is cross-buy. So if you buy it on the Rift, you'll automatically have it on the Quest. And that's one of the things I do like about Oculus with the cross-buy feature, is there's some games that I bought that I only needed to buy it once, but I got it twice. Like Dead and Buried, Pistol Whip, Star Trek Bridge Crew. Even though I already had it on Steam, that's cross-buy. Just to name a few. Racket Fury Table Tennis. That'll give you a little bit of a workout. And if you like table tennis, I would definitely recommend that too. Racket Fury, that's a cross-buy game. So that's another game I would recommend for a workout. But all in all, a lot of the rhythm games, a lot of the games this, kind of along the lines of Beat Saber, a lot of those games will give you it won't register if I buy it off of Steam. No, so cross-buy doesn't work like that, because the Oculus store, because the Oculus Quest and the Oculus Rift S are two headsets owned by Oculus. So I would tell you to do the research before you go off and buy something in terms of where you're going to buy it from. So a game like Beat Saber is not cross-buy, because they trying to get every dollar they can out of that game. Same thing with a game like Super Hot. So a game like Beat Saber or Super Hot or something like that, buy it wherever you want, but well, I guess if you don't plan on getting a Quest, then it doesn't matter where you buy it. I'm just saying that just in case, we'll use Pistol Whip as the example. If you don't plan on buying an Oculus Quest, then it doesn't matter where you buy it from. Buy it from Steam, buy it from the Oculus store, buy it from either one of them. But if somewhere down the line you think you could possibly end up getting an Oculus Quest, then buy Pistol Whip from the Oculus store, because you're buying it for the Rift S. But if you ever get a Oculus Quest, what'll happen is when you go into the Oculus store from the Oculus Quest and you highlight Pistol Whip, it'll say free, because you already bought it on the Rift S, and then just download it. Yeah, you can get your Rift to work with Steam. So I mean, in that aspect, Fatal, yeah, the Rift S works with Steam just like the CV1 did. I'm just talking from the standpoint of when you buy your games. Like if you think you might end up getting a Quest one of these days, then buy your games from the Oculus app. But if you don't plan on getting a Quest, then it doesn't matter. You can buy it from Steam or you can buy it from Oculus, whichever one you prefer. And Oculus is kind of caught up with Steam in terms of the return policy. I think Steam is still a little bit better than the Oculus store when it comes to the returns. Both of them still work on the same principle of you can return a game if you haven't played it more than 2 hours and you ask for a refund within 2 days. Um, Whereas I think Oculus is only going to do it so many times before they feel like you're abusing the system, and then they might end up refusing giving you a refund if they think you're abusing the system. So, but yeah, Leaf, you could absolutely get your Rift work with Steam. Reason why I was saying that is that Fatal Charade is planning on getting a Rift S at the end of February or early March, and I was just letting him know that if he ever plans on getting the Oculus Quest in the future, he might want to consider buying his games from the Oculus store versus Steam. But if he doesn't plan on getting a Quest, then nah, go ahead and buy your games from Steam. So you said I'm too impatient to. You said I'm too impatient to get a VR. I don't really get that because I mean, in the comment section of one of my streams, you said that you wanted an Oculus Quest so bad, but yet you're impatient to get one. I mean, if you want one bad enough, you'll get it. So that's with anything. If you want one bad enough, you don't have no money right now. Hey, start putting something away. Um, I would say if you already have a gaming PC, then you can save money by buying a headset off of eBay. If you want a Rift S, I don't think you're really going to save much money off of eBay because, people selling a Rift S on eBay are still going to want close to what it costs new. So you're not, in my opinion, you're probably not going to save any money because they might sell a Rift S for $350. I'm saving. That's why I'm selling stuff. Okay, if you were to buy a Rift S off of eBay, I'm willing to bet that people would probably want about $350 for a Rift S, and you would save $50, but you were probably going to end up paying back about 15 of it in shipping. So if that's the case, I would just buy a new one. So if you're dead set on getting a Rift S, then I'd buy a new one. If you're looking to try to save a couple $100, then I would probably recommend getting an Oculus Rift CV1 off of eBay because you could probably get one for 150, maybe $200 off of eBay. So good luck with that. Give me a second, folks. Grab something to drink, so you'll see me step into the kitchen here and grab a quick drink. I'll be right back. Fatal Charade, you said they're talking $500 for a Rift S on eBay. See, that's people taking advantage of these headsets being sold out because if you've been following what's going on with the headsets, you know that the Oculus Quest is sold out. And orders are backed up till late February. The latest thing that I saw was that the Quest is backed up until early March. But what people aren't really reporting is that the Rift S seems to be sold out as well. Media outlets aren't reporting it, but I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it on the Oculus communities on Facebook. I'm seeing it on Twitter, and people have even been in the comment section of some of my streams telling me that they can't get a Rift S because it's sold out. So I would probably say I'll say this that every time I walk into Best Buy, I walk straight over to the Oculus section so I can check that display case to see if there's something in there. And it's been emptied like the last 3 or 4 times I went in there. Uh, no, actually, it wasn't empty. There was a couple of Oculus Go's in there, but which you don't want that shit. But Oculus Rift S and Oculus Quest, no, there wasn't any in there. So that's why you're seeing the Rift S on eBay for $500. These are people that know that the Rift S is sold out, and they trying to take advantage of that shit and trying to, gouge another $100 out of people. Because both the Rift S and the 68 gig Quest sell for $400. So Leaf, I see you telling Fatal Charade some people sell only the headset with the cord for a little cheap, and then you can buy the touch controller separate. That's just it though. How much is the headset? How much are the controllers going to cost if you buy them separate? And then how do you know that he won't face a problem where he won't be able to get the controllers right away because the controllers might be sold out right along with the headsets? I would like to think that any controllers that Oculus is producing, they're going to have to allocate them to headsets that they're producing as well, so they don't upset the balance of their supply. So that's to me, that's a little bit of a gamble. If someone were to be selling a Rift S by itself, the headset by itself, I wouldn't pay any more than $200 for it because I don't know what the controllers are going to cost separately. There you go, right there, Fatal Charade. I'll just buy it from Best Buy for $400. There you go. Right there, Leaf. You said, "Holy cow! I'm on eBay and there's a Rift with touch controllers for $200. That's probably an Oculus Rift CV1. That's what I was trying to tell you. That if you want to save money and you don't have the $400 to buy a Rift S, that's a route that you can go. Is to get the Oculus Rift CV1 off of eBay for up to $200. It's usually somewhere between $150 and $200. They can't really ask more than that because the CV1 has been discontinued. So they're not in a situation where they could try to sell it at a markup right now because nobody's gonna buy it. The only way somebody could try to sell the Oculus Rift S CV1 at a ridiculous price is if 20 years from now it becomes a collector's item and then somebody try to gouge you that way. But right now, nah. I think as of right now, the last time I checked eBay, I think the most that I saw an Oculus Rift CV1 sell for, or the asking price, was $250. So, and there's a ton of CV1s on sale, up for auction on eBay. And like I said, I've seen them as cheap as $150. I've seen them as much as $250. So to me, 200 seems to be the sweet spot. So again, you save your money and grab a CV1. And PUG, what is up? How you doing? Mr. VR 2K20. I see King Thrash Gaming got Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. That street game breaking sucker. I did watch some of it. I'm not really into the Dragon Ball Z. I did watch it. I did watch it for a second because one time I accidentally stumbled across that episode of Dragon Ball Z where Goku first ran into Kakarot. So I wanted to see, when I was watching King's Thrash streams, I wanted to see if there was any similarities between the game and the episode of Dragon Ball Z that I saw. So it looked okay. I'm not into flat screen games, so it wasn't a game where I would say I'm going to get it or it's trash. I'm just not into flat screen games, but it was cool. It was cool to see the stream. Leaf, you said, you can buy the headset and then you can buy the controllers for around 120, $25. Like, if you're talking about these controllers, the current Move controllers, good luck with that, because I'd imagine these controllers are going to be sold out right along with the headset if you try to order it from Oculus Direct. It's probably going to be sold out. So to me, it wouldn't make any sense. Just go ahead and buy the Rift S brand new with the controllers and everything. So because you just saw Fatal Charade say that somebody was trying to sell one on eBay for $500. They are well aware that the Rift S is sold out, so they're trying to take advantage of it and mark these headsets up. Now, believe me, this same person that's asking $500 for his Rift S right now, if the Rift S was in, if there was overstock of the headset, he would be asking $300 for this headset, because he know that he would never be able to get rid of it, because you can just walk into a Best Buy and get one if they had stacks of Rift S to the ceiling. But he knows, the person that's selling it knows that the Rift S is sold out as well as the Quest. So my guess is, if you were to try to buy a Rift S off of eBay, which I don't know how many people would be willing to separate the controllers from the headset, but if you were to find a Rift S, the headset by itself on eBay, I'd imagine that if you buy the headset, and you're going to either have to go through, you're probably going to have to go through Best Buy or Oculus directly to get the controllers you need for it. And if you end up having to go that route and having to order it, for what it's going to cost and for how long you're going to end up waiting, you might as well just go buy a brand new one as soon as they're available. You said you found 2 touch controllers for $90. My question is, did you find these kind of touch controllers, the ones that they use currently, or did you find the old ones? Because the old touch controllers that go with the CV1, this controller right here, you see this ring right here, the touch controllers on the CV1 basically look like this. This ring is on the bottom, and you kind of hold the controller like that. But these new ones, the ring is on the top. And these controllers will not work with the CV1. The same way the CV1 controllers will not work with the Rift S. So what I'm saying is that if he was to buy a Rift S, when he goes to try to get these controllers, he's going to be waiting as if, he's going to be waiting the same amount of time as if he was trying to wait to get the headset. And for the most part, I think for the couple of dollars that he might possibly save, it wouldn't be worth it. Matter of fact, just for curiosity's sake, let me go grab my phone, and I want to check eBay just to see what people are asking for the Rift S out of curiosity. I want to see if there's somebody actually trying to sell a headset alone. I'll be right back. Okay, give me a second here. Give me a second here. All right. So let's see what we got here. There's eBay. Search for anything. Rift S. Huh. This is interesting. Oh, I see you subscribed. Thanks a lot, Leaf. Appreciate it. So, I'm a little bit shocked. Now, here's an Oculus Rift CV1. is saying $216.50. I don't know if this is the current high bid or if this is the straight out price that he's asking for. But a Rift S, this almost seems too good to be true. Somebody's right here. Somebody's selling a Rift S for what looks like $225. Why was Fatal Charade timed out? What the hell's going on? We got a situation here. We got people getting timed out. Let me go in here and fix this. You said it's probably busted? Okay, give me a second here. I gotta go and fix this situation with Leaf getting blocked. I don't know what happened there. Give me a second, folks. While I'm at it, let me double check to make sure nobody else got accidentally booted. You said probably a mistake. You wonder if 6 phone is in his pocket. I don't know. But either way, I will go in there and fix it and send Leaf my apologies because he just subscribed to the channel and he didn't say anything that was out of line. Let me see here. Hidden users. I don't see him on here. Okay, I'm at the oh, okay. What's going on, Sick? I'm at work and my phone is on my utility bill. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's all good, man. Impatient Fire said that was probably a mistake too, cause he had just subbed to the channel, and that's the one thing I didn't want was a dude thinking that I'm banning him. Those, cause he didn't say anything out of line. I'm at work and my phone is still on my utility bill. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's all good, brother. So I'm assuming that you unblocked him because he didn't show up on the list of people that got blocked. So no problem, my guy. So, so where were we? We were in the middle of oh, and Patient Fire. You was when I was looking at that Rift S. You were saying it was probably busted. Let me take a look at it real quick. Let me read up on this. Jamal Adams, what is good? Let me see here about this item. Okay, it says for sale an Oculus Rift S virtual reality headset with touch controllers. It was used for less than a day and has been sitting around ever since, so it's time to find it a new home. Immaculate condition as seen in the photos and functions flawlessly. Comes in original box with original packaging. Inside the headset with cables, two controllers, two AA batteries, display to mini display port to mini display port adapter, which I mean, with the Rift S, you don't need that. But manual and warranty, please do not to reach out to have. He's saying nothing's wrong with it, according to that description. But I would probably say the best thing to do is to check out his reputation. He's got 5 stars and looks like he's got 4.9 rating. So I don't know. It looks to me like this guy is selling nothing but Oculus headsets. He's got 100 and he's got 100. What is it? As far as his ratings goes, he's got 135. 5 stars. He's got 135 of them. 4 stars. He's got 9 of them, and then 1 star. He's only got 2 of them. So, how much is it, Leaf? While you're back, Leaf, my apologies that you got accidentally banned, but the ban has been lifted. So my apologies about that. And once again, thank you for subscribing to the channel. But here, I'll show it to you again. This is a Rift S for $225. He's saying that it's in immaculate condition, that it's only been used 1 day, and everything is still there. And he's even throwing in a display to HDMI adapter cord, which you shouldn't need. Because that's the one thing they definitely did right with the Rift S, is put a display plug at the end of it instead of an HDMI plug, because on a gaming PC, you would need that on the CV1, because the CV1 has an HDMI plug. And, being that you would need more than one device to plug into that HDMI port, you would need that adapter. But in the case of the Rift S, no, you don't need it. So, okay, so it's $225 plus $25 for shipping. So, said he has the Oculus headset market corner. Yeah, so like I said, he's got looked like 146 reviews. So it seems to me like this guy has been doing nothing but selling Oculus headsets. So I don't know if he's I don't know what his angle is. But I don't know. That's a catchy one right there. That price is hard to argue with, especially with the Rift S being sold out. Ridiculously good deal in Patient Fire. Yeah, you know what? And let me go to the Best Buy website real quick and see if the Rift is sold out there. I mean, because with the Quest and the Rift S being sold out, that's good, but it's bad at the same time. And I haven't even mentioned that the Valve Index is sold out, and that headset is $1,000. But everybody's getting ready for that Half-Life that's coming up in a couple of months. Well, Fatal Charade, if you still happen to be listening, like I'm just checking the Best Buy this about 10 minutes away from where I live. The Rift S is not in stock, but if you order it now, you will get it by January 21st. Patient Fire, you said who is this guy? You might be getting a headset from him soon. Hold on. So let me go back to eBay, and if it's possible for me to copy this link, I'll put it here in the comments. So let me go back, and then you can go ahead and do the research on this person yourself. So share this item. Copy the clipboard. Okay, hang on a second. What do you think? PSVR is good? Yeah, I think PSVR is good. The only, I think the biggest caveat to PlayStation VR is that there's not as many multiplayer games as you would see on PC. There's not as many first-person shooter games as you would see on PC, and there's not as many racing games as you would see on PC. So if you have a gaming PC, I would recommend going with an Oculus headset, because by having an Oculus headset, you would have access to the Oculus store as well as Steam. You would be able to use that headset on both of those platforms. And I would probably say on PlayStation VR, the only thing you're really missing out of PlayStation VR is their exclusives. You would be missing out on Firewall, and you would be missing out on games like Farpoint and Blood and Truth. But if you only had enough to get one or the other, and you already got a gaming PC, then I would recommend the Rift. But hang on a second, Impatient Fire. I'm getting ready to put that link in the description, in the comments section rather. So let me go to this stream. The only thing you really miss about PlayStation VR is their exclusives. Just a minute. About to say the thing don't want to let me get in my own damn chat. Okay, there you go, Impatient Fire. That's the link. That's the link that'll take you directly to that Oculus Rift S headset. So feel free to check it out. Leaf, you said, so I see go for Oculus, but I have no money. I'm trying to save, but no one is buying my items, and I'm just having no hope. Hey, yeah, PLO, you would be missing out on Ace Combat 7 as well. But there's still other flight games on Steam and stuff. You'd be missing out on Iron Man VR. Yeah, that's true, and you're probably going to miss out on Sniper Elite, because I think I'm not sure if that's gonna be a PlayStation exclusive. But all the footage that I have seen of Sniper Elite in VR, all the footage that I've seen has been at like some of these electronic shows or whatever, and they were playing them on the PlayStation VR using the aim controller. So yeah, see, but that's where Sony got the advantage. I mean, Sony got compelling exclusives. Even in VR, they've got compelling exclusives. So yeah, you got PlayStation exclusives in VR. You've got let me go all the way back to the beginning, as far as back as I can remember. You got Resident Evil 7. You got damn, I'm getting lost in the sauce trying to juggle. Yeah, you got Astrobot. You got Astrobot, you got Farpoint, you got Firewall Zero Hour, you got Blood and Truth, you got Everybody's Golf, and that's just some of the stuff that I can think of off the top of my head. Golem just came out, I think not too long ago. And you have, and then coming up, you got Iron Man VR, and you got Sniper Elite, as I just mentioned. And then, even though it's not an exclusive, you also got Zero Caliber coming to PlayStation VR this year. It's supposed to be coming around in April. It's already out on PC. But from what I understand, when it finally does reach PlayStation VR, it's going to be multiplayer, and I think it might be crossplay with PC as well. So, Leaf, if you were to go ahead and get a PlayStation VR, that wouldn't be a bad move either. Now, PUG, I'm not going to recommend Drive Club to anybody because of two reasons. One, the game is extremely blurry. Number two, the servers are going to be, if the servers haven't been shut down, they're going to be shut down. So if you're looking for a racer that's multiplayer, it's not going to be on PlayStation. Not any sim racers. I mean, because you got touring carts, which is basically like a Mario Kart type of game. But as far as like a serious racer, no, there ain't any on PlayStation VR. I just mentioned the situation with Drive Club, and then the situation with GT Sport. You can only go one-on-one against the AI, which the AI is, like a kid, because of how slow they drive. And then you got time trials where it's just you on the track. So I cannot, for sim racers, I cannot recommend PlayStation VR to anyone. So if sim racing is your number one passion, then I cannot recommend the PlayStation VR to anyone because, over on the PC side, there's a ton of sim racers that you could play in VR, with Project Cars 2, Assetto Corsa Competizione, however you pronounce it, Race Room, iRacing, Dirt Rally 2. I mean, the amount of sim racers you could play on PC and VR, it's a pretty long list. Wipeout, Impatient Fire said Wipeout VR is one of my favorite VR games. Yeah, that is cool, but it's not I like sim racers. I like real life shit. So right now, on PC, Project Cars 2 is my favorite sim racer. So I definitely love that. The game I really want to play is Beat Saber. PC is for sim racers in VR, absolutely. Leaf, you said the game I really want to play is Beat Saber. That it really don't matter. I would probably say the advantage of playing Beat Saber on PC is that you could add custom tracks. You got to go through a couple of steps to download a app, or a program or something like that, and extract a file or two. And then once you do that, you can add custom tracks. So you can search out some of your favorite songs and see if it's been modded for Beat Saber. But in the case of the PlayStation VR, you only going to get what they give you. So if Beat Saber is the number one game you are looking to play in VR, then I would recommend going with PC. And PUG, you said, yeah, no, Drive Club VR servers are shutting down, so I really did my online trophies, which was 2 of them. And then PLO, you said, is Russia Blood exclusive? I think so. I mean, I have it on PlayStation VR, but I haven't really did any legwork to find out if it's available on any other platform, so I really don't know. Impatient Fire, Project Cars 2 is awesome in VR. Gotta agree with that. Yeah, I love it because now you can race online in VR. The only bad thing that I don't care for is that a lot of those races that you try to join, they're already in progress, and people set those races for a long time. Some people be setting those races for like 10, 15 laps, and then even before the race starts, people, sitting there, doing warm-up laps for like 10, 15 minutes before the race starts. So I just usually just race against the AI on Project Cars 2, which is cool with me because it's just still to be able to race against a full grid of cars in VR, whereas on GT Sport, you racing against one car. Now in GT Sport, if they had the VR multiplayer, or you were able to race against a full grid of cars, GT Sport would be the best racing game in VR in my opinion. But because they don't have VR multiplayer, and you cannot race against a full grid of cars, Project Cars 2 becomes the best, in my opinion, the best racing game in VR. There might be those who might disagree with me because, like one of our colleagues on the VR link, Salsa Ketchup, he is really big into sim racers. He does all kinds of them. The Project Cars, the Assetto Corsos, the Dirt Rallies. He plays all those games. So he, I don't know where his favorites lie in terms of which might be his favorite. So that might be a question I'll ask him the next time when we get together this Sunday on the VR link. I'll probably ask him what's his favorite sim racer in VR. So PUG, Sony has announced that service for Drive Club VR, Drive Club bikes are all being shut down March 31st, 2020. So I'll have to make sure that I get some races in before then. And then pitch it fired. Damn, that's sad news. I still play Drive Club. Yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate, but that game got off to a horrible start because if memory serves me right, Drive Club was supposed to be a free game when it was first supposed to come out. And the game kept getting delayed, and then when the game came out, it ran like total dog shit. It ran so bad that I think Sony, and then to make it even more fucked up, it was supposed to be a free game, but Sony was selling that game for $60. And it ran so bad that, I think Sony was allowing refunds on the game. So I ended up taking my game back to get a refund on it. Because I think I bought the physical disc. I can't remember. And then after such a time, they knocked the price down to like $30, and then I came back and bought it again when it came down to $30. And then, damn, I have to think about it. I think I might have paid 15. Yeah, I think I ended up buying the VR version of it because I had to buy that separately if memory serves me. Now, what I can't remember is I think in the beginning that I paid $30 for the VR version of Drive Club, but eventually the price dropped down to like $15 if memory serves me right. PLO, I gotta play Drive Club VR at least once online before the end. Exactly. And Pug, you said you better hurry. You got this month and all of February and March 20th until March 2020 till you got online trophies. You said you paid $5 for Drive Club VR. Hey, not bad. And if Sick Humor still happens to be watching this podcast, let's talk about when I whooped his ass in uncompetitive, when I whooped they ass on Drive Club VR. And I got the receipts. If you don't believe me, you can go through my library and see it for yourself because I streamed it. And he even tried to take me out. I was beating his ass so bad that he tried to clip the back of my car and try to send me into the wall. And I still beat their ass. So if you go through my library, damn, I didn't know I had as many videos as I had. I think I'm closing in on about 750 videos. But yeah, if you go through my library, you'll probably have to type it in to shorten the search. But yeah, that stream is still there. It's still there. So if you want to see, in the voice chat and all that stuff is turned on, so you can hear, you can hear both uncompetitive and sick in the chat. So go check that out. It was a lot of fun. You said, don't worry, I have the Drive Club Platinum. That's what's up. Now, Impatient Fire, you said I bought Drive Club 3 times, twice for regular 2D version and once for VR. Um, you know what? I think they got me 3 times too, maybe 4, because I bought the game once, returned it, came back and bought the game again when it came down to $30. Then I think I paid like $15 for like the VR bike add-on, not the VR but the Drive Club bike add-on, and then I think I came back and paid $30 for the VR portion of it when I first got my PlayStation VR. So they actually got me several times on Drive Club. What do we got here? Let me go ahead and no. Let's share and go ahead and share this to Twitter. Even though I'll be wrapping this up in a few minutes, because I do want to get a little bit of VR therapy in before I go to bed. Now, this being that it's this late, in all likelihood, I'll probably play something on the Quest, because it's just that easy to put the headset on just like this and play it. I mean, right here, I could play it right here, sitting right here if I wanted to. Put it on, and I could, if I really wanted to, I could put the headset on and play something right here, right now, while I'm still talking to you guys through this podcast. That's just the beauty of how convenient the Oculus Quest is. Such an amazing device. I really and to think, I was a little bit harsh on the Quest when it first came out. Garuda. Hello, please don't uppercut me into the black hole to prove that time travel is possible. What's up, Garuda? How you doing, man? Let me see here. Patient Fire. I can't believe Sony shutting down the servers for it. It was a glorious game. We really need a sim racer replacement on PSVR. Hopefully GT7 on PS5 soon. Another game I don't know when it's going to come out. I'm going to have to get in touch with the developer about this game. There's a game called Drive. It's supposed to be like a combination of like a sim racer and an arcade racer. So when I first learned about the game, I got in touch with the developer and kind of got like a alpha key from him. And he did warn me. He said the game still needs work. I'm still working on the sound and all that kind of stuff. So I played it on PC, and I actually streamed it. So that's another game you can go back and check out called Drive. Now, at the time that I played it, the only car that was available was the Corvette, and I'd imagine that was just part of the alpha build that he gave me the key to. I mean, he said he was still working on the game. I don't know what the status is of that game, but it is supposed to be coming to PlayStation VR. If it does come to PlayStation VR before the PS5 comes out, then I'd like to recommend it. If you want a game that's in the middle of the road, that's part sim and part arcade, because when you go around corners, it's like, you kind of on some Fast and Furious stuff where you're drifting around corners, and sliding the back end around the corners. But it was a fun game. Jemiah Dixon, what's up? See. Fatal Charade, that reminds me, have you tried Surgeon Simulator? I have not, but I do have the game. And, I have it on PlayStation VR. And simply put, the reason why I have not gotten around to it is that once I got PC VR, it opened up an entire universe. I've said it before and I'll say it again. PlayStation VR is a planet, but when you add PC VR into the mix, it turns into an entire solar system. There's just so many more games that you have access to, and it's like every day half of my time on PC is going through the Steam store and just exploring what games might be there. So said Jemiah, Nvidia RTX 2080 Ti Dixon was up. Yeah, I got them all. Leaf, I have a Rift S, I have a Quest, and I have a PlayStation VR. You know, I'd like to get I would like to get an Index, but I don't want to drop the $1,000 for it. It's just not in the cards. I've talked about this before, that I hope to be in a bigger place in a year or two. And when I do get into a bigger place, that the second bedroom, because I only stay in a 1-bedroom apartment right now. I'm hoping to get a 2-bedroom apartment or move into a duplex, and whatever the case may be with that, I would use that second bedroom strictly for VR. You know, set up the green screen and everything in there. PLO, I want to play Elite Dangerous is VR so badly. I do have that game too, and I have tried it. But I really didn't understand, I really didn't give it a fair chance, to tell you the truth, because I was playing a game and all I was really doing was just flying through the city inside whatever ship I had. So, you said, what's the point for all? Why not? What's wrong with having 3 headsets? Every one of them has their place. You know, PlayStation VR has its exclusives. PC VR, the world is like, it opens up the world, dramatically. And then the Quest, you have the convenience of being able to take the headset with you and play it anywhere, anytime. So to me, there's nothing wrong with having multiple headsets. Shit, if you check out some of those other YouTubers, some of the big YouTubers, like I think there's a guy called Voodoo. He has damn near every headset made. On his wall, he has a shelf with a bunch of cubby holes, and there's a VR headset in every one of those cubby holes. This dude has got to have, he's got to have at least 20 headsets. I'd imagine that, Nathy, somebody like him, he's got 500,000 subs. I'd imagine he's got quite a few headsets too. You said, Leaf, you just want one? That's what I thought. I thought the PlayStation VR was going to be enough for me. But the deeper I got into PlayStation VR, the more I wanted another headset. And Garuda, you said, all I want is isolation in VR. It's there. It's there, Garuda. I guess a guy who goes by the name of Nibre, he did a VR mod for Alien Isolation. So you would have to do the legwork to go on YouTube and find the videos of people who can give you the step-by-step instructions of what you need to do in order to play it in VR, but it's there. You can play Grand Theft Auto in VR. Grand Theft Auto 5, there's a mod for that. And this Nibre, who did the Alien Isolation VR mod, is also working on Halo Reach in VR. So it's there. That's one of the other advantages of having an Oculus headset and jumping on PC VR versus PlayStation VR, because because you got the mods there. And then just recently, over the weekend, I put the Half-Life 2. My son was playing that in VR because we did the VR mod to be able to play Half-Life 2 in VR. And not only that, I turned the resolution up, and brought the resolution up to like 2160 or whatever. So I'd say, Garuda, I'd say the best thing for you to do is just go on YouTube and type Alien Isolation in VR, and I'd imagine you'll get exposed to a bunch of videos showing you how to, do the VR mod for it. But it's there. So you said, "Wow, thank you. I'm a big fan of Aliens." Eventually, it might be something I'll take a look at. Now, what I don't know is if this Nibre, the VR mod that he did. What I don't know is if you'll be able to use, your VR controllers. So, for instance, case in point, the Grand Theft Auto 5, the Grand Theft 5 VR mod, you have to use a regular controller. You have to use like an Xbox controller, but you can play the game in VR. The Alien Isolation, I don't know what the situation is as far as the controllers goes, but the Halo Reach VR mod that he's working on, I think he did say that you'll be able to use use these touch controllers on that Halo Reach VR mod. So I'm actually looking forward to that. So Pub, you said if you need a club search, if you need a club search for, is that Titanfall Princess Drive Club? She got a club? Hmm. You said my current club is dead. Yeah. I thought Creed was a dead game, but the game is still alive. It's just a matter of when you decide to play it. PLO, I think Alien Isolation was made for VR, but it was locked and the guy simply unlocked it. Okay. However they are doing it, I knew it was there. I just didn't do a lot of research on it. Can they simulate a liquor jumping on my face though? I don't know. Just a minute here. I'm kind of feeling like yeah, hold on a second here. So right now I'm looking through the camera, all that good stuff. Eventually I'm going to get the necessary equipment. Like right now, with the Oculus Quest, you can stream to Facebook directly, because Facebook owns Oculus. But in terms of being able to stream to YouTube and Twitch and all that good stuff, you need some equipment. You're gonna need a capture card, a HDMI splitter, all that good stuff. Eventually, I'll get around to it, but it's just not in the cards right now because I want to get some things off of my back. So yeah, I gotta be at work at 5, and I still want to get a little bit of VR time in before I go to bed. So I'll go another 15 or 20 minutes before I go ahead and shut it down. But out of curiosity's sake, thank you for the tweet, Jemiah Dixon. I appreciate it. Just out of curiosity's sake, though, let me go to eBay and see what people are selling. Am I good at Beat Saber? Hey, I'm decent. Like on Beat Saber, I can play just about any song on hard. I can play a lot of songs on expert, but I'm absolute trash at expert plus. I just like that's hard. Playing games on expert plus, that is hard, hard. PSVR. So let's see what people are selling their PlayStation VRs for. Give me a second. Because, shit, I'm seeing some interesting things here because some people got some bundles here. PlayStation VR Mega Pack with 5 games. They're selling that for $314. Same deal, $309, $299. Okay, so here's a couple of decent deals here. You got one PS4 VR bundle, but what I'm looking at, you get the headset, the processor, the camera and the necessary cords for 156 bucks, but that does not come with the Move controllers. Now I did find one here. This got the headset, the camera, the processor box, the necessary cables, and the Move controllers for 175 bucks. Oh, no, that's not the asking price. That's the starting bid. If you want to outright buy it, it's 250 bucks. So let me scroll through this. You see what we got here. PS4, PS4 VR, 2 motion controllers, all cables, case, headset, charging stand, plus 5 games, $175. Now this might be a good one. Condition is used. Ship with FedEx Ground. Okay. So this one is $175, but that must be the minimum bid because there's no option to buy on this one. Garuda says, hold on a second here. It says, can you beat Thriller by MJ on Beat Saber though? Now, you'll have to go back and check out one of my streams. One of my streams is the Friday Night Jam when I was playing custom songs on Friday night, and Thriller was one of them. But being that it was a custom song, see when you download customs, when you acquire custom songs on Beat Saber, some of them only have one specific level on there, so you don't get to choose between hard, normal, expert, and all that stuff. So in the case of Thriller, the only mode that was available was hard. There was no mode for normal or expert or whatever the case may be. But yes, I have played Thriller on Beat Saber, and like I said, go back and check out one of my streams, the Friday Night Jam. I was playing a lot of hot tracks on there. A lot of hot tracks from the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, so definitely go back and check out one of my Friday Night Jam streams. It says here, PUG, I'll add you. So, Lincoln Clay up at 5. Yeah, I got to be at work at 5, so I actually get up at about 3:30 so I can get everything ready. So, in Page of Fire, the only trophies left for me to get are the single player and single player time trial trophies. So, oh yeah, you remember the Friday Night Jam? Yeah, I miss doing those. I mean, I kind of stopped doing those because some of those songs, have copyright claims. So what'll happen with the copyright claims, because Twitch does it too, but they address it in different ways. If I stream a particular song on Beat Saber and it's got a copyright claim, the action that YouTube will take all depends on the copyright claim itself, because there's been streams that I've done where I played a particular song and there was copyright claims on it, and the entire stream was just like blocked on YouTube. Nobody could see it. There was other streams that I did where the stream was locked. It could only be viewed regionally. Like it could only be viewed here in North America, and it was blocked outside of North America. So And then the same, and then on in the case of Twitch, how they do that is if I'm in the middle of doing a stream and I'm playing a song that's got copyright claims on it, they'll mute the stream. You'll still see me playing the game, but they'll mute whatever the song is, and they'll mute it for like 5 minutes, long enough to make sure the entire song gets blocked out, and then you'll get the sound back after about a little over 5 minutes. But if I end up playing songs back to back that had copyright claims on it, then the stream's gonna be muted for like 10 minutes. You said those were fun. I love how you let me request songs. Yeah, I really enjoyed doing the Friday Night Jam, and that's one of the things that that I wish I could have kept doing. But it's like because of the copyrights on these songs, I never know which song is going to get the stream blocked. So I just I think if I were to go back to doing the Friday Night Jam, probably the only way I could do it is maybe record it and then upload it. We had some epic black jams rolling. Yeah, I mean, like, the first time I did the Friday Night Jam, I had so much fun. I didn't realize I was streaming for as long as I was. I think that stream went maybe 2.5 hours. That was so much fun. I mean, it was like, once I got done with the Friday Night Jam, I had so much fun. And I was so hyped that, like, I wanted to get cleaned up and hit the streets and go to a club, and go shake my shit, so that was a lot of fun. I really missed that. And then I had the little camera going in the corner, so you could see me going like this, and I'm, dancing and shit as I'm slicing cubes and shit. It was a lot of fun. I really liked that. So because of that, anybody wants Beat Saber, I have to recommend they get it on PC. You said, is there a list? If there is, I would have to go out of my way to find it. Because it doesn't matter where you get the song from, YouTube's algorithm picks it up. Not only does YouTube know what song you're playing, they have the information as far as like who wrote the song, who produced it, all that shit. YouTube has all that information. But I can still... I've never had any problems streaming Beat Saber from the PlayStation VR and just using the songs that the game comes with. I've never had any problem with that. So if you ever see me stream Beat Saber from YouTube, that's what, expect that I'm only going to be able to play the songs that came with the game. Because Sony don't play that shit, in terms of letting people mod that game. Sony don't play that shit, period, with the mods. So but you know what? I just thought about that. Beat Saber is another game that I triple dipped on. I have that game on PlayStation VR, on PC, and on the Quest as well. But the 360 degree mode, I've only tried that on the Quest because anything else, the cord gets in the way. Because if you have to be mindful of that cord when you're playing 360 mode on Beat Saber, and then not only that, there's no 360 degree mode on the PlayStation VR version of it, because if you turn your back all the way around, the camera's not going to be able to pick up the move controllers. So I think Beat Saber has a 180 mode on the PlayStation VR, but Quest and in the Rift S, PC, it has a 360 mode. But it works. If you're gonna play the 360 degree mode, it's best to play it on the Oculus Quest because you can spin all the way around and there's no wires to get worried about getting caught up in. And not only that, if you're gonna try to compare the graphics on Beat Saber from the Quest and the PC and all that kind of shit, you need a damn magnifying glass because that's a simple ass game. So the graphics is just hard to distinguish. And it's about having fun with the game. So that's not a game I'm going to go in here with a microphone, with a magnifying glass, and whoa, I saw something there. I saw, nah. Leaf, you said I'm finding some good deals on eBay. I might have to work with that. I think that's going to be your best bet because, if you're saying you don't have the money and you need to sell off stuff to get money, I think eBay is probably going to be your best bet. Just make sure you do your research on whoever you're buying it from. Make sure this guy's got a proven track record. So, Impatient Fire, would you recommend I get a Quest even though I own a PC? Is graphics quality lost if I try to stream from my PC to the Oculus Quest? Now, here's what I'm hearing. Like, if you, I'm sure Impatient Fire, you know about the Oculus Quest link cable. And once you connect that to your PC, it turns your Oculus Quest basically into it turns it into a PSVR headset, giving you PC quality and PC performance. So here's what I'm hearing about the Oculus Quest on PC. Here's what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is that the game looks better than the Oculus games look better than the Oculus Rift CV1, but it doesn't look as good as the Quest. So you right there in the middle. But for the most part, I'm hearing that it looks pretty damn good. So if you wanted to get an Oculus Quest and you were to get the link cable along with it, that wouldn't be a bad move. Matter of fact, people are speculating that that's part of the reason why the Oculus Quest is sold out, because a lot of them are trying to get the Oculus Quest so they can use that link cable to connect it to their PCs, and they're going to be playing Half-Life Alyx from the Oculus Quest, by way of the link cable. So, Impatient Fire, you already have a gaming PC. So if you only had enough to get one or the other, I don't know. I would probably want to recommend the Rift S. But again, the advantage of having the Quest and you get that link cable is that you're still getting that PC quality and that PC performance. And then when you unhook the cable, it's basically like a Nintendo Switch in VR where you can take it with you anywhere you want to go. For instance, whenever I go to my parents' house, I go over there in the summertime because a lot of the friends that I grew up with, a lot of family and shit like that, they hang out on the porch, talk shit, have a couple drinks or whatever, and I take the Quest over there with me, and then I just draw a boundary out in the driveway, and I just play games in the driveway, and people get curious and want to try that out. So, and that's what makes it such a hard choice. Is, do you want to get the Quest and have the convenience of being able to take that headset with you anywhere, or do you want the native performance coming from the Oculus Rift S? So yeah, you said, oh nice, I like the mobility of Quest, but I want PC quality. Then in that aspect, I would recommend the Oculus Quest. Now, the thing about the link cable, if you order the fiber optic cable that Oculus has, that cable is going to cost you $80. But there's, from what I understand, there's cables everywhere. Mostly through Amazon. You can order like a transfer cable that's like a USB 3 cable, or USB-C, USB-C on one end and USB-C on the other. You can use one of those transfer cables and still get the same performance that you would get out of the Oculus Link cable. And you can get one of those cables from anywhere from 10 to 20 bucks, depending on the length of the cable. So if you can, because when the Oculus Link beta went live, those cords were selling out on Amazon like that. You couldn't find one. So like a 10-foot cable might cost you 20 bucks on Amazon. So you said, I'll have to do more research to figure out which one I'll finally settle with. So I'm glad I don't have to make that choice, because it'd be it'd be a tough one. That's why one of the reasons why I'm glad I got all three headsets. So no matter what I want to play, there's a headset that's best for that situation. If I want to play Beat Saber, but then not only that, I think you can add custom tracks to Beat Saber on the Oculus Quest as well. There is a method where you can side load, through I think through Beat Saber or through SideQuest or a couple other websites where you can add custom tracks to the Quest version of Beat Saber. So when it comes to games like Beat Saber and Pistol Whip, no wires is great. Even Creed, even with the compromises in the tracking, it's still great to be able to play that game with no wires, to be able to move around, and not worry about tripping over cables. Shit, that Racket Fury table tennis, that's definitely a game that's best played on the Quest, because the graphics. Now that's one game where the graphics are so close. It's just like the PC version of Racket Fury. The picture is slightly sharper, and the reflective surfaces and stuff like that is there. But it's like the Quest version of that game is damn close to the PC version of that game. So that's one game, and that game is cross-buy too. So you can't go wrong by picking up that game at the Oculus store. And that's a game that's best played on the Quest because I love table tennis. I grew up playing that game. I've been playing that game ever since I was 7 years old, because my father bought a table tennis or ping pong table as we called it growing up. And I absolutely love that game. And to be able to move around with no wires, because that's a game that if you get really good at that game and you playing against somebody that's really good, they're going to make you move. They're going to hit the ball this way and then come back the opposite way. So that's a game that you're going to have to move around. If you're good and you play against somebody that's good, you're going to have to move. And not having to worry about a cable to trip over definitely Racket Fury Table Tennis. That is a game that is best played on the Quest with no question. Said facts, you're living the VR dream. I love it, man. I love it. Impatient Fires, like a lot of my childhood dreams have come true through VR. Also, Impatient Fire, you said the PS5 wasn't launching this year. I get both Quest and Rift S. See, I'm glad I don't have that problem, that I already got them now. That's another reason why I think Sony should lower the price of the PlayStation VR right now, so people can go ahead and get it out of the way, and it's something that they don't have to worry about when the PS5 comes out. They already got the headset. So for those that might try to wait until the PS5 comes out to get a PSVR headset, you might be in a little bit of a pinch, because if the PS5 costs $500 and then the PlayStation VR is still costing $350, you're looking at $850, which still isn't bad. But I'm saying it's like if they make a permanent price cut or put the PlayStation VR on sale one more time, I think preferably when Iron Man VR comes out next month, if you were to have another sale and knock the Move bundle down to $250, they would definitely sell quite a few of them. So Leaf, you said I added 2 things for VR I will need to my watch list. You said that I might buy. Okay, keep me posted on that, because I love hearing stories about people getting VR headsets. Because these Oculus Quest communities that I'm part of on Facebook, every day I see a new post about somebody, posting a picture of an Oculus Quest. It was like, finally, they finally got their Quest. After having to wait a month or whatever the case may be, they got their Quest and they posted a picture. And I love seeing those stories. So, I actually went through a little bit of shit to get this Oculus Quest. Jace Woes, what is up? How you doing? Yeah, I actually went through a little bit of shit to get this thing. When I made the decision to finally get an Oculus Quest, short story long, not to tell that story for the millionth time of the bullshit that I had to go through. once I made the decision that I was going to get an Oculus Quest, it took me about a month to finally get it because they were sold out at retailers. Couldn't get one through Best Buy or through Walmart. The only way you were going to get it was order it, and I didn't want a situation where I order it at Amazon and then they just drop it at my door and leave, and then somebody steals it. So I had to wait until somebody actually got one on their shelf when I can just walk in and buy it. So that's why it took me so long to get one. Xbox Video, what is up, my guy? Yes, the fidelity of the Quest is less than the Rift S. But, you know, I haven't tried it myself. I will get around to trying it. I will eventually get around to getting the proper transfer cable. But from what I'm hearing is through a transfer cable or through the Link, you know, Oculus Link cable, it looks better than the CV1, but it doesn't look as good as the Rift S. So it's right there in the middle. So, but standalone, you know, in terms of not hooking the Quest up to a PC, then yeah, you're going to see most of the games you're going to see you're going to be able to notice the downgrade in graphics. Like the Star Trek Bridge Crew, for instance, you definitely see the downgrade in graphics on Star Trek Bridge Crew. But games like Racket Fury Table Tennis, you really can't tell. Games like Dead and Berry 2 is hard to tell. The only thing is that the PC version, the edges are really sharp and crisp, whereas on the Oculus Quest, the graphics are the same. It's just the edges are a little bit softer. If the storage is upgradable, unfortunately not. But here's the thing about the Oculus Quest: a lot of the games are small. Like for instance, take Star Trek Bridge Crew for instance. This game on PC and on PlayStation VR, I think the file size is about 5 or 6 gigs, but on the Oculus Quest, this game is like less than a gig, but it shows. It shows in the graphical downgrade. You know, like Vader Immortal, for instance, is a good example. On PC, Vader Immortal, the size of that game is about 12 gigs, but on the Quest it's like 1.3 gigs, but they look pretty damn close. It's just on the PC version, it's more textures, more shadows, more lighting, and more reflective surfaces. So with the PC version of Vader Immortal, you basically get a nice coat of wax. You said, I mostly play Beat Saber. I wonder if that would take a hit on the Quest. No, not at all. Because games like Beat Saber got those simple-ass graphics. So that's definitely a game where, like, you're not going to be able to put on the Quest and be like, oh, this is the Quest version. I can tell right away. A game like Star Trek Bridge Crew or Creed Rise to Glory that I'm speaking of right now, you could put a headset on me and I can open my eyes and I can tell you whether it's the Quest or the PC version, because there's enough of a noticeable difference between those two. But games like Racket Fury, Dead and Berry 2, and Beat Saber, those are 3 games where it's hard to tell the difference. Robert McLeod, you said starting March I will be buying PSVR games. So on the Oculus Quest as Xbox Video, not only do you not take a hit in the graphics, I do believe that it's still active, that there's still a way for you to add custom tracks on the Quest version of Beat Saber, the same way you could add those custom tracks on the PC version. I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. Robert McLeod, you said second PSVR game will be Resident Evil 7, and I will make sure I have my heart pills. I'm going to eventually get back around to playing Resident Evil, because I think the fear is out of my system, because when Resident Evil was scaring the fuck out of me, that's when I first got into VR. You know, when I first got into the PlayStation VR, and the shit was just too real. Jump scares. If I'm walking down a hall and something jumps out in front of me, then yeah, it's gonna startle me in that aspect. But if I see something way down there that's coming at me, I'm not gonna be scared the way I was, when I first got into the shit. You said Jay Swoles, I don't know what you're trying to say. It looks like you minced the words a little bit. But if you're trying to ask me about Vader Immortal, how is it? It's okay. I mean, the game is broken down in 3 episodes at $10 each. The game is not that long. Each of them have about an hour of gameplay. So be warned. I think it's a good game and I like it. But don't think you're gonna sit there playing this game for 10, 15 hours. So, all 3 games combined has about 3 hours of gameplay. But there is the dojo where you can work on your force powers, and work on your lightsaber skills. You pull out a lightsaber, you got stormtroopers, and you have that drone shooting lasers at you, and you can try to deflect the lasers back at it and trying to destroy them. And then you can use your force powers to like pick up rocks and pick up stormtroopers and shit like that and throw them at other stormtroopers. And that's the thing about it, though. The Vader Immortal games, if you want to be safe about it, I would say buy the first episode. Because because if you buy episode 3, you're gonna get lost in the story. So I would say if you want to take a chance on it, buy episode 1, which is only $10, and if you think you'll like it, then proceed to pick up the other 2 episodes. So I do like Vader Immortal. I did finish episode 1 and 2, and I'm in the middle of 3. And I'll go ahead and finish that out this weekend. But I have been playing those episodes on the Oculus Quest just for the simple fact that it was so convenient. It was just so easy to pick the headset up and boom, put it on my head just like that and start playing. Just that simple. Just that easy. So I just cannot get over the convenience of the Oculus Quest, and I never thought I'd be here saying that because I will admit that games like PokerStars VR, one of the first games that I saw on the Oculus Quest, had some PS1 looking graphics. So to me, I thought that was going to set the tone for a lot of games that was going to look bad on the Oculus Quest. But considering that that's a mobile VR with a Snapdragon, mobile processor in it, a lot of the games look pretty good. You just missing the ad. They took some of the assets out in order to get this game to run right. So again, some of the lighting, some of the textures, and some of like the reflective surfaces, some of that stuff might be absent from the game. You said it sucks that Vader Immortal is not out for PlayStation VR. Hey, it is what it is. That's what exclusives are all about. So that's what exclusives is all about. Now, I will say this, that if you had something like an HTC Vive or something like that, a headset that is not an Oculus headset, you would have to use this app, I believe, called Revive or something like that, and that would allow you to play the Oculus exclusives on other headsets, and that's something else that you could do, Jay Swoles. If you have a gaming PC, there is software out there where you can connect your PlayStation VR, where you can connect it to a PC and still have access to those games. So just because you don't have a Oculus or something like that doesn't mean you can't play those games. There's still a way you can hook the PlayStation VR up to a PC. So Robert McLeod, fine. I usually go commando. And in Patient Fire, me too, but that isn't even didn't even prepare me to play in VR. It's a totally different game in VR. Yeah, horror games don't scare me whatsoever. Playing them flat screen, but playing them in VR is a whole different situation. There are games that when you play them in VR, it's just way too real. And horror games are one of those games where you play them in VR and it's just too real. Some people get scared out of their damn pants and they can't handle it. And in the beginning, I was one of them. When I first got the PlayStation VR and I was playing PlayStation VR Worlds, where I'm inside that cage being lowered to the ocean floor or whatever, Um, when that great white shark showed up and ripped the door off that cage and stuck his head up in there, that shit was so real. It had me backpedaling and shit. I even told this story before about how I was on a date one night with this chick that I was dating, and we went out and we came back to my place, and I said I want you to try something. So I put the PlayStation VR on her head, and I started up the Ocean Depth game, and she was like, "What do I got to do?" I'm like, "Nothing, just sit back and enjoy the ride." And when that shark showed up, she started like, you can see her looking around like that. And when that shark showed up and ripped that door off, she was backpedaling, and she climbed all over the top of the couch and was, backing up and backpedaling. That was the funniest shit I ever seen. I should have had my phone out and recorded it. That was absolutely hilarious. So it's shit like that where VR is just way too real. You know what I mean? But I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. Robert McLeod, first PSVR game I bought was called The Impatient, which I have that game, and I haven't really played it because it seemed like the game was getting mixed reviews, but they were leaning more towards the negative side. So that's the biggest reason why I played it. It didn't play it. It wasn't so much out of fear. I was just listening to, reviews, not from media, people, in Reddit and shit like that. Those were the kind of stuff that I was reading. But hey, I paid for the game, so I'm eventually gonna go ahead and play it. So. And PLO, I can't imagine Alien Isolation in VR. Heart attack waiting to happen. It is in VR. I've said that before. You would need to just type in on YouTube, type in Alien Isolation VR, and find out the necessary steps that you would need in order to play Alien Isolation in VR. But it's there. And Jay Swoles, you said can't afford a gaming PC, so strictly console. Hey, I definitely feel you because all the shit that I got, the PlayStation Pro, PlayStation VR, my PC, Oculus Rift, Oculus Quest, all this shit I didn't buy overnight. It took time. Because if you break down how much money I spent on this shit, I wouldn't doubt that I probably spent about $5,000. You want me to break it down? The first PlayStation VR that I bought, I paid $500 for that one because I bought it day one. That's the one I sent to Craig Harris. Then I bought a second one. I caught a break on that one, and I got it on clearance from Walmart for $220. So we'll just call it $700 just to make it even. Then there's my PlayStation Pro, which I spent $400 for it. And it was actually my second one because I bought the original PS4 for $400. I bought a PlayStation 4 for my son so he could take the PlayStation VR home with him. And I bought that off of Craigslist for $200. And it's damn near brand new. I still have it. It's just sitting there, haven't been used. So now we're up to about, if you include both of the PlayStations, $700, $1,100, $1,300. So between the two PSVR headsets that I had, along with the PlayStation Pro and the PS4 that I bought for my son, we are up to $1,300. Now, over on the PC side, I bought my Alienware PC, which would normally retail for $2,000. When all was said and done, I got it for $1,600. So now we're up to $2,900. And then there was my Oculus Rift CV1 that I bought for $350. So now we're up to $2,250, and that was the headset that I sent the BitCloud. Sent that CV1 to BitCloud. So we're up to $2,250. Then there was the Rift S that I bought for $400. Now we're up to $2,650. And then there was the Oculus Quest that I bought for $400. So now we're up to $3,050. And now, if you want to throw in the shit that I bought for my son, I bought my son a gaming PC for $700. Now we're up to $3,750. And I bought him a Rift S for $400. So now we're up to 41. Now we're up to 4150, and that's just on hardware. We haven't even gotten to the games yet. And I would have to say that between all the games that I got on PlayStation VR, on the Oculus Rift, and the Oculus Quest, I'd like to think that I probably got somewhere between, 60 and 80 games. And these games ranged anywhere from free to $50. Because when this Star Trek Bridge Crew came out, I paid $50 for that. And then you got Creed. I triple dipped on Creed. I bought it 3 times on all 3 headsets. $30 each. So yes. So when you say that all this when you saying it's not in the cards right now that you can't afford a PC, I understand. Because like I said, I got all the shit that I bought. I got damn near $5,000 in the VR just on hardware. And that doesn't even include the games. So yeah, when I included my son's PC and his Rift S, yeah, that put me at close to $4,200. I could have bought a nice car for that money. And then I'm still talking about getting a Valve Index next year or something. Once maybe not next year, but eventually when I move into a bigger place, I'm still talking about getting a Valve Index for $1,000. He said, Jay Swoles, on a fixed income, you've given away more than I can afford. But there's ways to cut corners on that. I mean, as far as the headset goes, eBay. You can cut corners on the headset on eBay. Now, the gaming PC, that's a totally different story because I don't think, I don't know, like Fatal Charade might be a good person you want to talk to. You say, yeah, I think VR gaming is an expensive hobby, but I think it's worth it. Absolutely. Robert McLeod, I'm on a fixed income, so went to Aram's. Problem solved. Okay. Yeah, boy. So, here's the thing with my son's PC. My son's PC was normally it was originally $850. I bought it on sale for $700. Now here's what the PC has. It has a 1 terabyte hard drive with a 240 gig SSD. It has an i5 8700. It has a GTX 1660. So, flat screen games, my son's actually getting 4K 60 out of a good number of these flat screen games. And truth be told, even though he's trying to go off the naked eye and off of his memory, he's saying that, like, even though my PC costs double what his is, he said it's hard for him to see the difference between his PC and my PC as far as VR goes. So as far as VR goes, you're not going to need to spend $2,000, $1,500 on a PC. I mean, you can get a PC like my son has and still get a decent performing PC for VR. So my son absolutely loves his PC. I mean, he like, when I bought him his gaming PC, that was pretty much a wrap. Because he don't hardly play his Xbox anymore unless he feels like playing Gears. Because he does most of his gaming on his PC, because he absolutely loves the mods, and then he loves some of the games that this on VR, like VR Chat and Pavlov, shit like that, because those are also 2 games where this supports modding. So And that's the big thing with my son is modding. You know, he loves mods. You know, Gary's mod, all that good stuff. So you said I might need to go to errands if Sony keeps releasing these games. You said VR Max is out at around GTX 970. So, I mean, based on the specs that my son has, I feel like my son's PC is probably. I would like to think of my son's PC as a starter PC, but I think that you can probably you can probably get a PC with lower specs that can run VR for a little bit less money. So no, you don't have to have a $1,500, $2,000 computer to get on board with VR. So I would probably say in the case of my son's PC, the only thing that I really had to do to his PC was add more RAM to it, because his computer came with 8 gigs of RAM, and it did, and that was the one area where he was short because to be able to play Half-Life Alyx, you're gonna need a PC that has I think a minimum i5 4500. You're gonna need a minimum of I think a 1060. I think you're gonna need that for a minimum. I think, and then for RAM, you're gonna need a minimum of 12 gigs. So I added 16 gigs of RAM to my son's PC, and he said he immediately noticed the difference because he said games were running better on his PC when I added that RAM to his PC. So, so if you were to get a PC in, depending on how low you go, I feel like that might be the only thing you'll need to do to the PC is to add more RAM to it, because it could, you could experience some stuttering or some frame drops or something like that, depending on how low you go. You said GTX is the minimum requirement for most VR games. So, yeah. So you don't gotta break the bank. So like I said, Swoles is ways around that, bro. You can get a headset. You can probably find an Oculus Rift CV1 on eBay for somewhere between $150 and $200, and then as far as the shortcuts that you can take on the PC aspect of it, I would say talk to Fatal Charade. He can definitely guide you in that direction. He said, I know about what a gaming PC and to do gaming as far as, but not my thing. Okay. Eventually, when my warranty runs out on my PC, I will upgrade it. I will upgrade the processor. I will upgrade to an i7 or i9 when the warranty runs out. The reason why I won't do it now is because I don't want to risk voiding the warranty by tampering with it. So, Jesus, it's 1 o'clock. I know I need to get on out of here. Starting to get the scratchy voice. I got to get up at 5, so I got to be up in 2.5 hours. And I already missed a day of work as it is. So, at the moment, I don't think I have to work this weekend. So I plan to be up and get a lot of VR gaming in. At the moment, until I get this NDI plugin set up through OBS between my two PCs, at the moment, PlayStation VR is where I'll be streaming the YouTube. Robert McLeod, you said this Asus laptop gaming PC shocked the hell out of me. I installed I installed all of my games on it and did not even make a dent in this thing. Like, wow, for a 1 terabyte. Yeah, I see you right there, Impatient Fire. Say go get some sleep. I'm not immediately going to bed. I got to get my VR therapy in before I go to bed. So I'm about to jump on this Oculus Quest because, like I said, right now I just don't I don't feel like setting up like I wanted to get some Project Cars 2 in before I go to bed, but I don't feel like going in the corner and grabbing that. I don't feel like grabbing the table and shit like that and setting it up. Plus, I want to be able to play something where I don't have to worry about the cord. So I'm probably going to go ahead and play some VR Racket Fury. I'm probably going to play that before I go to bed. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hit the hay. And damn, 2 hours and 40 minutes. Holy moly. He said I got to wake up early too, but I'll fly around in Elite Dangerous VR before I sleep. Hey, enjoy it. Enjoy it. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of VR in before I hit the hay. And again, everything that I talked about as far as my comparisons on Creed and Star Trek Bridge Crew and all on the 3 headsets, all that really took us about 35 minutes to talk about all of that. And once again, you guys are the ones that kept this conversation going as long as it did, and that's why I enjoy doing this. That's why I enjoy conversating with all of you guys, and it made me, when I was in YouTube jail, it made me appreciate being able to do these live streams and interacting with you guys. You said my old roommate games on PC, and I'm jealous. Hey, I mean, well, there's a will, there's a way, Jay Swoles. So that's going to do it for me. Once again, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Leaf, if you still happen to be watching, good luck. I hope you get a headset. Fatal Charade, I look forward to you permanently joining the VR community. And I'm looking forward to you getting that Rift S. And as I said before, brother, when you get that Rift S, you got to give us an unboxing video. And you got to give us a stream, some of these games as you go along. So, all right, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and book you.